Here in the Northern Hemisphere, FMDX season is just around the corner. Tropo is already starting to get geared up, and it won't be long before we're talking about openings from Sporadic E. But we're not there yet. So this is the perfect time of the year for DXers to finalize all of their preparations, routine maintenance, and everything else they need to do to get ready for the FMDX season. So in that vein, we introduce a new DX 101 series on preparing for and getting ready for the FMDX season. Our first look is going to be at a tool that a lot of FMDXers find to be central to their experience during FMDX openings. That tool is FM List. Here we go. All right, so let's take a look at fmlist.org and what it is and how you can use it in your DX, how it can be a tool that not only you can use, but other DXers can use as well based off of your DX. It's actually pretty cool. One of the things that I hear a lot from DXers or from some of the folks who have tried to use FM List and have not been successful is they consider the UI to be a little confusing to navigate. So we're gonna talk a bit about, in this video, how to just basically navigate the UI, how to get from the different areas and where your focus should be, how you set up your initial location and things like that, how to sort the data so that you can see a list of stations and what to do with it when you do want to log, and show you just how fast it actually is. It's how I log during a Sporadic E opening or Tropo opening. I'm logging in FM List, and then I go back and I take that data and I apply it to my own personal logbook. I'm not logging in my logbook live because it takes too long. FM List is super fast, and we're going to show you why and how fast it actually really is. We're going to do a follow-up video to this one where I kind of talk about kind of the top 5 or so features that are more advanced or more handy that you can use to really take your FM List use to the next level. But this one is going to be just a nice level set. What are the important areas you need to know about? How is this thing laid out? How is it set up? How should you be looking at it during a DX event and using it during a DX event? Starting with, you got to have an account. You have to register for an account at fmlist.org. If you already have an account with Medium Wave List, you still have to create an account for fmlist.org. So you want to make sure that you have an account created at fmlist.org. And if you have not yet done so, you would just go down here to the register area. Now, right now, this is in German. I don't speak German. I'm a native English speaker. So if you're like me and you need to change the language to Spanish or French or whatever it might be, if you look up here in the top right-hand corner, you'll see a little pull-down menu, and you'll see options for different languages. I'm going to choose EN for English, and now my screen is going to be in English. And you'll see here's that first time here, register now. So if you have not yet created your account, you will want to do so. It's a pretty easy process. You fill out some information. It'll send you an email to your email address you provided with a link. You click that link and create a password. And then after that password is created, it goes back to the FM List staff. They review your account creation. And once they give the thumbs up, make sure everything is valid and that you're actually a human being that's trying to register for DX use, you'll be active and you'll be able to log in and do what you need to do. So we're going to pick up from there. You've got your account already set up, or you just created an account and they've given you the thumbs up and everything is good and you are active. So once you've gotten that confirmation everything is good, you just enter your email address and the password that you used when you created your account and click on login. That brings you to a page that looks like this. Now, this is not FM List that you're going to be interacting with on a regular basis. Where you want to go to is over here in the middle called My FM. And the first thing you're going to want to make sure that you do once you've gone to My FM is you want to make sure you create a location for yourself. Now, this location is going to be where it basically knows where you are. And then from that, it can tell you how far you are from the stations you're hearing, the bearing, and it can even, in some cases, depending on the propagation, give you a list of stations that FM List thinks you're more likely to be hearing based off the propagation. It's really, really cool that way. And it also helps with populating things like maps and things like that we'll be looking at later. All right, so the first thing you'll do is click here to create and select another receiver location. So I'm going to now scroll down. I've already created a location for myself. I'm going to create a new location. You can create what you need. So if you're doing portable operations, if you travel and you're DXing from different areas, you want to keep a separate logbook for your DX in, say, Seattle versus your home in Texas. Or if you do some portable operations, let's say you go to the beach and you want to do a separate logbook there, or you have different equipment. Let's say you've got your SDR versus, like for me, I have an online FM DX receiver that we have available, so I keep a separate log for that, that people can submit their logs to and that I can submit my logs to. So it just depends on your needs, but you can create as many locations or use cases as you need to do. So the first thing you'll see here is you need to tell what country you're in. So I'm going to tell it I'm in the United States of America. All right, so now that I've selected the United States, I'm going to select and narrow down my exact location. Now, this little red crosshair, wherever you have the red crosshair centered, that's what it's going to know as your location. Now, I'm going to use Vegas because I actually went out on a trip to Vegas a couple of years ago and did some FM DXing. So I want to make sure that I have an opportunity here to do some DX from this location. So we're going to find our condos we stayed at. There it is, Signature MGM Grand. We were one of these right, I think, here. So that's going to be close enough. So once you've got your location set, just scroll on down, and that's going to give you some different fields to fill out. Now, the first one you'll definitely want to fill out, this is like an abbreviation, so I'm just going to choose here like DXCNV for Nevada, telling me that I was creating a location for Nevada. And I'm going to use that same identifier in both the shortcut and the credit. And if you have a ham call sign, you can use that. I'm going to use that. And what this basically does is when you do submit a logged FM list, especially if it's during live DX, that also populates over at DX Maps for those who use dxmaps.com with your call sign. So it makes it a little bit handier as another place that people can identify when there's an opening going on. Your preferred language, your city. This was Las Vegas, Nevada. After you do your city, the next thing you'll do is your postcode. I just looked it up because I don't know the postcode at that place in Vegas. So it was 89109. So now I've got that set. The next ones here, the red ones you have to fill out. The blue ones are probably a good idea. You don't have to, but it's probably not a bad idea to do so. You can put like your receivers, what you were using. For instance, I was using an AirSpy HF Plus Discovery. My antennas was a W6 LVP portable loop antenna. And then any other information you want to have in there. If you're using multiple SDRs, multiple antennas, you can put all those in there. The next thing that I would probably say to change is down here in the green. Do you want to make your logbook visible publicly to everyone? I haven't really found a reason not to, unless you're being super private. I always say yes to this and to making my band scan visible publicly. It really just, it helps the DX community to have this information at our disposal, so that we can all kind of share information, share what we're hearing. It really does make it a very beneficial thing for the overall DX community. So feel free to say no, but no twisting of the arm here. But I always use yes here just to make it easy for my logs to be useful and hopefully helpful information for other DXers. And then you would hit submit, and that creates a new location. If you click on this, though, click here to create or select your receiver location. I want to show you a couple of different options here. You can, again, set your language here as well for the menu items, labels, messages, and help text. You can also, if you scroll down, select if you want distances to display in miles or kilometers. This will change it pretty much everywhere. There's a couple of areas where you will see it still in kilometers no matter what you select, but we'll kind of talk about that. But the vast majority of the data that's here, especially on this page, is going to reflect in miles for you if you choose miles, if you prefer miles. So what we have here is an interface to be able to generate a station list. There are two main things that are going to help us generate that station list: the frequency that you're on and the propagation type that you're experiencing. That's going to tell FM List what stations it needs to tell you. So if you're just doing a local band scan, and let's say you're on 93.7, and you're just doing a regular local band scan, it's only going to show you those stations that it thinks you're probably hearing during local deadband normal conditions. If I were to choose Tropo, now it's going to broaden that out. and it's going to actually give me stations within a certain range. And I'll show you how to change that here in a moment for local and Tropo. And so it's going to actually present this list to me in the order in which it thinks it's more likely that I'm hearing these stations. So in this case, if it's a Tropo event, it thinks this Biloxi station is probably who I'm hearing. This New Iberia station is also a possibility. The station, this little LP station down in New Orleans, also a possibility, but probably Biloxi is more likely, followed by New Iberia. So it's going to kind of rate that based off of what it knows about the power, the distance, and things along those lines. A couple of little notes here about the overall format here of this station list. You've got two columns over here on the left we're going to circle back around to. One of them is called log. One of them is called band for band scan. So we're going to be looking at those here in a bit and what those do. You've got your dB, your signal strength here. This will tell you basically it's an estimated idea of how strong that station should theoretically be for you at your location. And it's based off of a formula that has been put together for FM List. You've got your frequency here, the power of the station right here in kilowatts, so 100 kilowatts. You got 2 watts here, 95 kilowatts, and so forth. The country and ITU code. You can filter your station list by ITU over here on just below this interface right here, right above the station list. There's an ITU filter. So if you're hearing a lot of stations from, let's say, Cuba or Mexico or something like that during an opening, you can filter down for just those stations. REG here is your state. In the United States, that would be like your U.S. state or province or Mexican state, things like that. Program, that is the station that you're hearing, along with their slogan. So you'll have call sign and then slogan. If it's a situation where it's like a translator, you'll see the translator ID, what station they're relaying, and then whatever slogan that they're supposedly using. This information is usually kept pretty up to date. There'll be some times where you'll run across some outdated information, but usually it's pretty up to date. Your city, their coordinates, their distance from you to that station, and you'll also see the azimuth they're bearing as well. Some information on the antenna, as far as the antenna height and things along those lines. If it's vertical or horizontal or mixed polarization, so if it's going to be both, kind of the hybrid. You'll see some information here on the PI codes, the RDS information, including usually like what kind of stuff it'll show on the RDS, and that very, very important PI code is over here. On the far right, you'll see a couple of different buttons. One button is to actually listen to recordings or uploads. If you've made any recordings that you want to upload here of that station, you can do that. You'll also see a list of links here. So this links is going to take you to things like their website, their Twitter account, their Listen Live, things along those lines. So if you need to interact with the station or get some more information or listen to the live stream and parallel that to what you're hearing to confirm, or look at like playlists and things like that, you can do that. You'll also see here a button that says notify. So if I click on that, if I do notice something is different, let's say their PI code has changed, their slogan has changed, their format has changed, I can notate that here. And then I'll also see here a little button that's got a little eye on here. If I click on that, you'll actually see who, when, and where has been hearing this particular station. So you'll actually get to see a full list of anyone who has logged this specific station. And it's going to take a second for this one to load. While I'm waiting for that to load, you'll also see over here on the far right, for most stations, not all, but quite a few of them, you'll see the format of the station or any kind of relevant notes. And usually it's going to be the format though. So like here's contemporary Christian, you have country, adult contemporary, things along those lines. Going back to our list of who's heard the station, you'll see any band scans. Here's me. I put this one in as a band scan, so anything that you've done is in yellow. And you'll see other people who've also submitted in a band scan or in the DX logbook. You'll see that as well. So these are people who have submitted their logs of this station. Again, anything in yellow is you. You did that. And then any of the other logs, so you'll be able to see very quickly who's been hearing them, how far away, and so forth. All right. And some of these you can sort the station list by these different headers. So if I want to say sort by mileage, normally it's going to go from, usually in most cases, low to high. But let's just say I want to go reverse that. I want to go from high to low. Well, if I click on that, now it's showing me from furthest to closest, and I can reverse that by clicking on the little triangle here to sort ascending or descending. All right, So I use these propagation buttons here to kind of filter down my station list based off of the event that I'm experiencing. And we've looked at local, we looked at Tropo. eSkip is here. And you'll notice here, now my list is going to change drastically because now I'm not going to see those Biloxi stations or anything that's kind of close by. I'm going to see stuff that's further out. And so in this case, it's going to sort by from closest to furthest is how the eSkip is going to sort out by default. You can also do meteor scatter. If I go over here and I click on MS for meteor scatter, I can look at a list of stations that are likely for meteor scatter here from my location. So now let's take a look here and see if we can show you how you can use this information. So I'm going to go here. I'm actually going to use my buttons here. So you can use these buttons to also change frequency, or you can enter it directly. I'm going to change here to 94.1. Oops, I overshot here. Let's go to 94.1. And it'll refresh the screen here for me. You can also just type in 94.1 if that's easier. Now I am hearing, we're getting a little bit of Tropo here this evening, tiny bit of Tropo enhancement. I'm hearing WEMX here, Max 94.1 here in Kentwood, Louisiana. They're pretty common here, except during the deadest of dead bands, they might be a little difficult to hear, but traditionally with any kind of Tropo scatter, they're going to be available to me. So I want to notate that I'm hearing them. And this is a DX station. Now, if it is a station that is very common for me to hear, let's say this is a station here in New Orleans as an example, I would click on this BS link over here under the band column, and that's going to bring up the entry for add this station to my band scan. So you'll see here, it's going to auto-populate the frequency, the country, the call letters, the state, the city, rather. It's going to populate the distance, the azimuth, the power, the date of the reception, today's date. You can then also indicate if you heard or decoded their RDS or not, and then any remarks. And the remarks are especially helpful if you're going to click this checkbox here to notate any changes. So if you've noticed a changed PI code or format or things like that, you can, or slogan or call sign, you can add those to the remarks here. Click this checkbox, and that'll notify FM list editors of the changes, and they can make those updates on the list. Otherwise, if you don't check this, you can just leave any kind of remarks here you wanted to about programming content and things like that. Add the station in, and that will be good to go. So I can just click on here, add the station, and now I can go up here to my band scan. And the band scan is going to be there all the time, and you'll see here, there's WEMX, Kentwood, Louisiana, added. RDS decode was there, and there's my date of when I heard them. So you'll see all the stations you've notated in your band scan will be here all the time for you. Let me go back to my FM. Now, let's say I'm hearing this station as a DX event. So it's a station that I don't normally hear, but I'm hearing them right now because of some Tropo enhancement or something along those lines. Instead of clicking on the BS link, I click on the L under the log column. That's going to give me a very similar interface. The first thing you'll want to make sure is that you notate the proper propagation. Now, it's going to auto-populate Tropo in here because I already clicked on the Tropo button on the main interface, but you'll just want to double check to make sure that the right propagation mode is noted, especially if you're putting anything in as eSkip. You want to make sure that that is accurate and it actually is eSkip, because there have been many times where someone is hearing Tropo and they log it as eSkip, and now people think there's an eSkip opening going on. So be very, very cautious and make sure that you're notifying the right propagation type. I talked about how fast it is to log a station, and this is what I'm talking about. You see all the information that it's going to auto-populate. So if I'm in live mode here, it's going to auto-populate frequency, country, call letters, city, state. It's going to do the distance, the azimuth, the location, the power. It's going to then notate also today's date in UTC date and today's time in UTC time, the current time. And it is right now 0312 UTC. Here's where I'd put any details in. I can put something like is an auto logger decode, or I can put in something along the lines of like Spanish, add several Latino mix IDs, mentions of Dallas, things like that. So whatever details of what you heard, put those in if you want to, or you can leave it blank if you really don't want to put anything in. That's up to you. The more you put in, the more helpful it is, though. Did you receive RDS? And if you did, what code did you receive? And if the code you received is different from what is listed on the FM list, station list, make sure you click the little checkbox there to notify them so they can make that update. And then there's some other things in here that you can check if you want to, but more than likely, now you're done. Hit submit and then move on to the next. So in here, I can say, yeah, I heard Kentwood because they're coming in right now. And so I'm looking at my SDR console instance and I'm seeing the D code. So there we go. Now I can go to my logbook up here at the top. And there's WEMX Tropo. And you'll also see if I click on visual logbook, there's my catch of WEMX on the visual logbook on the map. There it is. There's my location here. Little black antenna is me as the DXer. The little orange icon that says FM, that's the station that I heard. And you'll see here it does notate the distance in kilometers. That's one of those areas I was talking about that typically you would, if you changed your settings to miles, you would see miles everywhere. The map is one of those places you will not see the difference. You'll see it always as kilometers. If I scroll down here, you'll also see a log of any stations that are notated on the map. If I've logged them, or if there are other DXers in here that have notated logs, you'll see their stuff in here as well. And again, here the distance is in kilometers as well on this this MyFM logbook that you'll see here. Now, if I go back to MyFM, another thing that you'll probably want to make sure that you know is, let's say I'm on 94.1 again, and I'm going to pull up my station list. You can also click on the, you can click in the box here and hit enter. You can click on show data. You can click on any of these all buttons over here. That'll undo any filtering you've done and show you the full list. Let's say I'm sitting here on 94.1 and I'm getting a PID code of 3CAE. Okay, and let's just pretend I can't tell that that is the station right here in Beaumont on my list. And I'm like, wow, 3CAE, where is that? So I can type in right here next to the frequency, there's a PI box right here. I type in the PI code that I'm receiving, and then I hit enter, and it's going to filter that station list for me down to that specific PI code. So now I can see very quickly, oh, wow, that's Beaumont, Texas. And then I can click log, and I can go in here and I can add in my details if I want to, my RDS code if I am receiving one, in which case, let's say I am, and then hit submit. And you see, there I'm done. Everything is logged. So yeah, that's how easy it is to log something via FM list. Now you can also do, and I encourage everyone to do, not just live DX, I encourage everyone to also log things you're hearing on your recording. So if you're recording the band during the event and going back in and reviewing that, you can also log those to FM list. The benefit there is that having that data available, especially sporadic E, it helps all of us out, especially yours truly, with a data analysis project we're doing around sporadic E using logs submitted to FM list. So we're taking a look at logs from 2017 and onward from North America and doing data analysis of that those logs and getting some really cool information. So I would love it if everyone was doing their recording reviews and submitting those logs to FM list as well. Just make sure if you do that up here in the left-hand corner of the screen where it says live, if you double click on the word live, it's going to change that to say from file. And now when I pull up my station list, if I go to log, instead of it putting in the time, the current time, it's going to say the logging mode is from file. So it's going to actually, now you see now the difference here is live. If I click here, now it's going to say from file. It's going to auto-populate the date. Now I can change that date. Let's say I'm doing something from May 31st of 2023. I'm reviewing an old log. And then I put in the UTC time that I heard the station and all my usual stuff I would normally put in. And then if I go back in and log my next station, it's going to remember that I was doing a log on the 31st of May, 2023. I don't have to keep typing that in every time. Only thing I have to put in is the time and any of the stuff down here that I put in. And that's it. It's super, super fast. During an opening, I'm not logging in my personal logbook. I'm logging from FM list. And then I go back in and I go back to my logbook page up here at the top where it says logbook. And I pull up the date. So let's just say right now I'm looking at, let's say 4/1. See, what did we have on 4/1? We had something in here. Let's just pretend this was a full list of stuff. I don't want to have to go through all the different dates to find it. But I would see, okay, I had some stations logged here, and I can have all the details I need to go back in and add that to my personal logbook, which is awesome because this is so fast and gives me all the information that I need to be able to go back in later on and make sure it's in my actual logbook that I keep here for myself. So yeah, that is FM List. One other thing that I'll show you here is the display options. If you scroll down here at the bottom, there's a couple things you'll be able to do. If you are doing a recording of an IQ file that you've recorded from the past, you may want to go over here and say, instead of the display only active stations being checked, you may want to uncheck that and then go down to the bottom, hit save settings and reload my FM, because there may be some stations that you're hearing on your recording that are no longer around. And it'll actually still have their information. If you uncheck that box, you'll be able to see information on those stations, including their call sign, their city, the state, distance, bearing, all that kind of stuff. You'll still have information on those stations you can use to help you with logging them into your logbook. Another thing that you can do down here is you can change the ranges that you want to see for your local and your tropo. I'm pretty sure they have the eSkip hard-coded in here, but you can change the ranges for both local stations and tropo, keeping in mind that the numbers in here are kilometers. So in this case, you'll see here it says 202 mile range. 202 kilometer range, which is about 125 miles. 1,500 kilometers is about 932 miles. So if I wanted to expand this out, and let's say I want it to be 1,800 kilometers, if I hit save settings, now you'll see my tropo range increases to 1,118 miles. So this is a way that you can try to customize, at least on the local and the tropo, what stations it's going to present to you on the station list. How big of a reach is it going to give you based off of what your typical tropo event might be. All right, so that's the basics of navigating FM List. We taught you how to pull up a station list, how to sort it by propagation, how to find a PI code if you're getting an RDSD code, how to log something, how to do a band scan log, how to pull up the maps and look at the maps. Those are the basic things you're going to want to make sure that you are able to navigate in on FM List. Our next video that we'll do on this topic is going to dive into some of the more advanced features, or the more handier ones that we like to use here at DX Central. So we'll give you an advanced tutorial on FM List, so make sure you stay tuned for that. If this video has been helpful, we would appreciate it if you give us a big old thumbs up, and don't forget to leave us a comment. And if you have not yet subscribed, clicking on the subscribe button and that little bell icon to be notified when new videos are available is a big way that you can help out the channel. We definitely would appreciate that. From all of us here at DX Central, my friends, take care. 73 best of DX now. Let's go back and hit the bands.